Do you know what the best way to start off your film review channel? And that is to probably review one of the worst film adaptations of a cartoon series ever made. And that is The Last Airbender. Now, we all know that M. Night Shyamalan, as a director, he likes his superhero contemporary plots and twisted ending. But he has made quite a lot of movies that have given him bad publicity. I mean, pretty much all his films have got him bad publicity. Quite a lot. But there are such films as like Lady on the Water, The Happening, and After Earth. Don't know what he was thinking with that. We'll leave that for another day. But there was one film, The Last Airbender, that got just completely fucked up his career. If I'm honest, it's something that you can't really redeem yourself. This film obviously, evidently did pretty badly, but in terms of awards, it got 4 Golden Raspberry Awards, and basically Golden Raspberry Awards are something that a film director does not want on his filming CV, if you like. Basically, he doesn't want it in his history. He doesn't want anything like that. But M. Night Shyamalan, you got 4. Congratulations. So the 4 Golden Raspberry Awards this film got, along with other nominations for other Golden Raspberry Awards, he got worst picture, worst director, worst screenplay, and worst eye-gouging misuse for 3D. Oh god, yeah, that one didn't do too well. That was quite an obvious one. So yeah, let's get into how this film did so badly in the box office and probably will never see a second film. Thank God. And I'd like to add that if, you know, what I don't really understand what he was thinking in terms of trying to put everything, like 6 hours worth of cartoon episodes, which was the first season, and try and put it into a 2-hour film. You're gonna have to cut some stuff out. Even the he even said the co-creators would have to tell him to cut stuff out, but he was like, "Oh no, don't want to, you know. I want to try and put it all in." But he tried to clarify the story in 2 hours, which he did a pretty bad job of doing. But let's get into the characters, and then we'll go on to the plot and the massive holes that he left there, which were quite a lot and quite big. Actually, before I get onto the actual characters, let's talk about the characters' names very quickly. I'll try and be quickly about this. It's quite annoying though. So one of the main reasons why this film didn't do very well, wasn't very popular with the fans of the cartoon, was because M. Night Shyamalan, he decided to the names were changed. He changed the names. So instead of Aang, you got Aang, and instead of Sokka, you got Sokka, I think. So the reason why, obviously there have been a lot of theories saying that maybe this was, you know, because of copyright or whatever, like maybe it was this, like, you know, they didn't want the same names in the cartoon as the film. Well, that's obviously not true because, one, Katara and Zuko, their names were not changed at all in terms of pronunciation. And the second point is that the co-creators were actually up for a live-action adaptation of the cartoon series, which I would, you know, at first glance, you would think that's a pretty good concept. I like the idea of it. And it just went to shit, really. Poor casting ideas and just really bad dialogue. Granted, though, the visual effects did look okay. It could have been better, but they were okay. Anyway, we'll go on to that. Let's talk. So, in terms of the names, obviously it can't be because of copyright, because the co-creators were there, and because some of the names weren't even changed either. So there was only one reason for it, and that was for M. Night Shyamalan to change it himself. Why? Why would you do that? No! It doesn't make any sense, because you're trying to attract an audience that watched the cartoon to come and see your film, but you've changed it. You know, it's got to be a perfect, it's an adaptation. It's got to be like, it's pretty much copy and paste from a cartoon into a film. Not necessarily a series into a film, but we'll let that slide. So the reason why M. Night Shyamalan decided to change the names and whatever was because he wanted to repronounce the names as if they were in the Chinese language. So Ang is how you would say Ang in the Chinese language. That's what he said. Those were the quotes he said, roughly. But you really are. He really was playing with fire. You know, it's not something you would do if you wanted to attract an audience. You don't change the names. Anyway, I just realized I've been rambling on for about name pronunciations for about like too long, so we'll just get on to the characters now. So first we're going to start talking about Sokka, in other words Sokka, but we're comparing them. All right, Sokka in the actual cartoon, he's kind of like a like a goofy older brother. You know, he knows what's best, and he tries to be brave. Obviously flops like a fucking salmon, but he does give it all, and it's very quirky. It's very funny, and I actually really enjoyed watching him as a character, and he actually developed into quite a badass, even by the third season. But even after, like, by the end of the first season, you know, he matured a little bit more. And then as soon as that was over, he went straight back into immaturity, which, because it obviously gives the sense that the audience, oh, this is new season, new start, back to the drawing board. But Sokka in the live action, he hasn't got much charisma. The actor, that is. Sokka in the live action film, he was played by an actor called Jackson Rathbone, and there's probably a lot of good reasons why we haven't seen him in any other films recently. His character in Last Airbender, he just wasn't really that good. He just wasn't very. He wasn't very charismatic. He didn't really have a lot of good lines. You know, he should have had some catchphrases like he did in the cartoon. But I think he was just he put on too much of a serious role. You know, he's too much. He acted like too much like a warrior. There wasn't really much of like failing or you know maybe throwing a boomerang and misses it and hits some poor old lady in the face. Oh! I totally did not take that plot from the In-Betweeners. It really did flop. I mean, he didn't really. He did. There are some like pointers that he did get right. I mean, in terms of like the romance with the princess, you know, that was quite obvious, but in a kind of a creepy way. Because I know it was kind of rushed and all that. Like, oh, quickly put these two together. There you go. And it kind of just looked like, oh, you know, they're together now. Yeah, there was no build up to it. Everything was very rushed in the film itself, and Sokka, he just I feel like he didn't really study his character that much. He didn't watch much of the cartoon. I mean, I know that because you know, he wasn't very funny, which was a very key part of Sokka's character in the anime. I mean, there were quite a few examples where it could have been funny. I mean, in the script, it possibly could have been funny. It was just the execution that didn't really go well. So there's the point where Aang, Katara, you know, the three protagonists, were in like trying to like liberate Earth Kingdom camp, and they're actually captured, and then they break free and they start attacking the Fire Nation. Obviously, they all. Like Katara and Aang, they have their air, like bending and stuff like that, and Sokka doesn't have his boomerang, so he just says this. Okay, everybody can help us now. Not even a grin came to mind. I'm not sure if it was meant to be funny or not. I was very confused. I was just like, is he trying to say that? Is he trying to say that in a funny way? Anyway, basically to sum it up, he was a very bland character. A trait that you'll find in all three protagonists. So let's get on to Katara. Katara is actually, obviously, her name was never changed, so I mean that's a point, you know, from the adaptation. But in the cartoon, she is very like a caring, kind, and all those kind of like very stereotypical female protagonists in personalities in anime. But in terms, and she was a pretty good waterbender. We actually saw her in character development. You know, she went from a very shit waterbender to actually training in the Northern Water Tribe, and actually became a master at it before the Fire Nation obviously attacked. In the live adaptation, we didn't see any character development at all from her. I mean, like at the very start, we could see that she was very bad at it, which, you know, that's a good starting point. but you then kind of skipped over her training it and actually mastering it. We do see her practice it, but we don't really see her in any of the visual effects at all. We don't see any of it. We don't see it like maybe she did it more cleanly or whatever. Nothing. Nothing there. But as soon as she walked into the Northern Water Tribe, bam, she's already a master. We don't even see her getting trained by Master Parku anywhere. We didn't see anything like that. Obviously, Katara did do an okay job of maybe like fulfilling some of Katara's personalities, produce a pretty good, kind and caring personality towards Aang. But it just didn't really follow through. And now we get on to Aang, and in the cartoon, Aang is very much like a child, you know. Even kind of makes like a little transportation made out of airbending, which we don't even see in the live adaptation film, which I am very upset about, because that would have been a good thing to add. Obviously, M. Night Shyamalan skipped over a lot of things, and that just had to be caught in the tidal wave, really. So in the live action film, Aang or Aang is played by Noah Ringer. Like, he didn't really seem, in terms of, because in the cartoon he was very childlike. He was like, he didn't take things seriously, and when he was supposed to, and he just say things completely off topic, and it just, you know, wouldn't fit with the context, wouldn't take it seriously, and I've already said this. But when it came to the live adaptation film, it just seemed like he had no childhood at all. He just looked like he wasn't, he was emotionless. He didn't seem like, he was very bland in like his dialogue. Like a good example of this was when he went into the spirit world, and whilst the Water Nation was under attack by the Fire Nation, he went to the dragon to actually seek help. He didn't really put any emotion into it at all. He was very bland, and it kind of reminded me of the same tone when he was just normally speaking, not like he's desperately trying to seek help and like looking for guidance and actually trying to like get something out of it. He didn't seem too desperate. He looked like he had all the time in the world. He was meant to have some kind of rivalry with Zuko, and that was shown maybe in 2 parts of the film, when really it should have been shown more. There's a lot of things that he cut out which he thought wouldn't really have like made it into the story, wouldn't have made it clearer in any way. But trying to show that these 2 characters had a rivalry, that would have helped a lot, because that's what happened in the cartoon. And something's telling me that he didn't actually watch it at all. Oh, God. I've recorded for like 20 minutes and I've only done the characters. I haven't even finished on the characters. But anyway, yeah, three main protagonists, not the very most engaging actors to play them, nor were their actual character profiles in the actual live action film really lived up to expectations at all. Now we get on to Zuko's actor Dev Patel and his character in the anime and the live adaptation film. In the cartoon, very angry, had a lot of daddy issues really, and that was kind of that was shown quite well in the live adaptation film, but he probably was an easy character profile to pretty much explain to him. It's like M. Night Shyamalan could have easily just said to Dev Patel, right, you are a prince, you are very angry and you have daddy issues, go. And Dev Patel might have just acted on that, or he actually really studied his character. And to be honest, you could believe either one. And obviously, you know, Dev Patel is a good actor. I mean, now he is. But he wasn't too bad of a character when they actually shot the film. I mean, they were very he was very up there. Fantastic, such professionalism. But anyway, in terms of like comparison to the adaptations and the cartoon and like that, yeah, whatever. You know, he did very well. He acted like his character was meant to, and he really portrayed it very well. Unfortunately though, it wasn't enough to actually save this monstrosity of a film from going into the depths of hell, really. And guys, you remember Appa? You know, pretty much the mascot of the whole Last Airbender series? We do see him, just not very often. We only see him for pretty much for 20 seconds, maybe 25 seconds. but we don't even see him for that much. We don't even see him in the final battle at all. I mean, yes, good point in the cartoon, he doesn't fight in that battle, but still, we don't even see him. We don't. He just swims into the fortress, and we never see him again. Come on! Oh, we only saw him for like traveling sequences and whatever, which he must have, M. Night Shyamalan must have thought that's all he's really there for, but not in the cartoon. It was, in terms of the setting, the ways that they did the setting, that was it was good. Don't really know how to really congratulate you on that. You literally looked at it, said, okay, we need to match that landscape, and you've done it. Well done. That's really what a film should strive for. Like 2 out of 100 things you got right. Dev Patel and the settings and the visual effects. I might give you that one as well. But something that really kind of crossed my mind was that it looked like there were different races playing the different countries. So put this in perspective, you had Indian people playing the Fire Nation, and then you had the Earth Kingdom playing Asian and like Chinese, and that pretty much all the portrayed heroes are white people, which kind of doesn't really make any sense why he did that. A little bit dodgy there, and stuff like that. And I just really wasn't sure why he did that.
You know, for me, this was an incredible opportunity to be culturally diverse and be organic at the same time.
It looked like he was kind of segregating. It really did give off the kind of option that he was kind of segregating cultures apart, and he was actually saying it was meant to be, the way he did it was meant to show the film that it was multicultural, but kind of segregating those cultures into different countries, not really bringing them together, is it? Not when in the actual film they are meant to be enemies. And it just didn't really make any sense, if I'm honest. There's a lot of things that this film did pretty terrible at, but if I'm honest, this video could go on for another hour if I tried to go through the whole plot and just nitpick. But the thing is, I would nitpick because the film is so fucking boring. And what I found quite funny was that the co-creators of the cartoon show they pretended it to be non-existent at all. They pretended that it never happened, which kind of just goes to show of how well this movie went, really. And they also told the voice actor of Zuko in the cartoon, Dante Basco, I think his name is, and they told him to not see the film because of how shit it was. If this film, which it didn't, there's no sequel coming to this, there's no book 2 episode film coming out, thanks the fucking Lord. But if this was done in kind of like a TV series, taking the story and maybe changing it, maybe to make it a little bit mature, so it's not necessarily an adaptation, but it's kind of like a spin-off. They could have done a spin-off. They could have maybe completely ignored the whole three protagonists and could have just gone for something else, but and maybe followed a Fire Nation general or something, or a student growing up in the Fire Nation during like the whole Avatar time, but they didn't really do it. That would have been a good idea. Maybe give us a new perspective and maybe a new reason to use live action. Anyway, this film was exhausting. Thank you, M. Night Shyamalan. You really have done well. Well done. Don't make any more adaptations. That's my advice to you, because you really seem to stray away from the actual storyline. And if you don't believe me, I've pretty much just given you a very long example.